Question: what have you been ignorant about in your own life? I'm asking this because when we hear the word ignorant, I think it's really easy to point fingers outside of ourselves. Especially nowadays in the state of the world, it's easy to point to another group of people and say, you're ignorant about these issues. And the other group of people saying, no, you're ignorant about these issues and these issues and these issues and these issues. But my question is, what are we ignorant about our own issues? I'm asking this as a continuation from yesterday's video where we were talking about what is it that our soul truly wants. But then I realized that's quite a big question. So maybe flipping the switch and asking, what is it that our soul doesn't want? But then we had to go even further and ask, well, what is it that my soul wants? And what is it that my ego wants? And vice versa. What is it that my soul doesn't want? And what is it that my ego doesn't want? And so now we're taking a step further with this part 2 video from yesterday as we continue to read along from Be Like Water, My Friend by Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter. So she gives us a different perspective or a clue as to a different way as to how we can look at the word ignorant in a different way. And she says, it is actually rooted in the word ignore. What are you ignoring in your life? What thoughts keep nagging at you that you push away? What feelings come back again and again that you shove down and deny? What patterns keep playing out over and over in your life? Oof, that is worth a pause on this video in itself when asking ourselves those questions. What are you ignoring in your life? What thoughts keep nagging at you that you push away? What feelings come back again and again that you shove down and deny? What patterns keep playing out over and over in your life? And so she uses an example. I know a guy who's always telling me that people are bad-mouthing him and saying that he's duplicitous. I want to look up that word. What does that mean? If you haven't been in a few videos with me already, I am oftentimes looking up words because, if you're reading this out loud to people and I'm going to keep reading it and pretending like I know what it means, like I don't, and I want to know what it means. The word means in the English Limited Dictionary, deceitful. All right. So this guy is duplicitous or deceitful. He tells me that it's not true. It's all gossip and rumors. And he doesn't know why everyone says these things about him all the time. Without a stance on what is true and not true, my suggestion to him is to ask himself the following. What is he doing or not doing that is making people feel ill at ease about his integrity? Then he can investigate with the intent to really look at himself and see what others might be seeing, and ultimately decide for himself if there are changes he needs to make. What comes to my mind is two parts, is how I opened up this video, is how it's really easy to point at other people and say that they're ignorant, or to point at another group and say that they're ignorant and they don't know about certain issues. And I'm sure they're pointing right back, let's be honest. So this reminds me of a previous video I made where I shared with you all that I intentionally consume content from the other group of people. I personally prefer content that gives perspective to multiple sides. And one of my favorite YouTube channels is called Jubilee. They create videos based off of verses, which is not my favorite standpoint because I don't think we're verse anybody. I'm just like at a place in my life where I don't think that anybody should be against each other, and that my question is how can we continue to move towards oneness and wholeness as individuals and as a society? So it makes me think of that, where for me to question my own ignorance, I personally learn best through stories and debate and conversation and big questions. And so I'll really binge content on Jubilee, such as their Surrounded series, and more specifically, their Middle Ground series, where you can observe the nuance and the gray area in people's certain standpoints and perspectives, all based off of a question. And so then the second point is exactly what I said in the first point to some extent, is that if we are all one, and this guy, as an example, his colleagues are saying that he is deceitful, then the question is, like, what are they mirroring back to him that he's not questioning and investigating for himself? So how do we have this humbleness of being like, okay, if more than one person is saying this about me or is giving me this kind of feedback, then maybe it's worth taking a look at and further investigating and exploring and discovering for myself. And then I get to decide. Because I think at the end of the day, yes, we can have as many people tell us a certain thing. You toggle the line in making a decision, right? After you've done that work and you ask yourself, okay, is there some sort of truth to this? And if so, if there is a truth to this, do I want to do something about it? I think unfortunately we live during a time right now where there's this fine line of almost being who we are, but in a combative way. Like almost like nonchalant and like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. Like, fuck you and fuck your shit. Okay. Like, for me, not my favorite standpoint. I don't think that that's helpful to anybody, especially yourself. Because if we're not willing to listen and observe like what's being reflected back to us and at least take into consideration, like, we're all here. How can I at least get along with other people on the playground, with other kids on the playground if we're all gonna be here anyways? But yeah, I think that there's also like the bigger question of if you're okay with being perceived that way, then keep doing it. But if you're not okay with being perceived that way, then what decision can you make for yourself to make a change? And it doesn't have to be a big change. It literally could be the tone of your voice, can literally be the way that you deliver your message. Or it can literally be even nonverbal communication of just having your arms open as opposed to closed when you communicate. Obviously, this person is about being deceitful. If you were to look deeper as to why it seems like he's being deceitful, well, maybe he's not being completely honest about what it is that he wants, that he feels like he needs to be deceitful to get what he wants. And so then that goes into a whole other video we talked about a couple of days ago. So nonetheless, let's keep going about ignorance and the word ignore. And it says, if something is occupying a lot of your mental and physical energy, then it's a problem, whether it's manifesting physically or not. And it's going to keep you locked into a life of ongoing inner struggle and personal negativity if you don't deal with it. After all, if you're honest with yourself, you already know what those things are that plague you internally, even if you don't know what to do about them. So again, we can continue to ignore our personal issues for as long as you want. But what she's saying is that it will start to manifest in a physical way in our bodies. Like that's the thing that I've been observing is that, what seems like external issues or internal issues, like things that you can continue to shove down and push down and ignore and not voice out and like not express and not deal with, your body, our bodies will find a way to communicate that to you. I say this because I've shared with you all that I've been in the midst of getting to know a new person and we were supposed to meet up and like talk about how we can support each other in our dreams. And after our meeting, I told him like, hey, like take some breathing room after this. Like this was a big conversation. It's like the conversations I'm having with you all, but like in the midst of the time of drinking a coffee, these are a lot of big questions to ask, and what we are potentially embarking on in terms of a friendship or a workship relationship with each other, or even a mentorship, mentee relationship with each other. Like this is not, for me, this is not just like a simple one-off type of relationship, acquaintance. I'll see you when I see you. Like, at least for me, I'm the way that I invest and put work into and put time, energy, and effort into anybody or anything. Like it's very fulsomely until it's not, to be completely honest. Like I'll go all in. And then if I feel any shift in me, if I feel less energized about something, if I don't feel as excited about it, if I start to feel bored, if I feel like we're not making progress, if we're not having any movement, like that's when I'll start to pull back and like, look, it's not working. So we need to pivot and adjust, or we need to be completely honest and say we're at a different space and place and we need to move on. So note that in the future, if we end up working with each other in the future, but also suggested to them to take some breathing room, like not only within today and their schedule, but also until the next time we meet. And unfortunately, literally by the next week I talked to them, they shared with me that they've been in the hospital. And I'm like, what the heck? But it's because their body is communicating to them, hey, you're not resting. You're not taking care of yourself. Like, slow down. And that's the same way when you see other people. If you see people with anything, really, like my observation, I can't, it sounds crazy. And that's why, like, when you see other people and you see things showing up on their body, whether it's acne or whether my mom had psoriasis or whether, who knows, maybe it's a cough that they have. Like, I personally think that that's your body communicating to you, like, hey, I'm not at ease right now. And it's showing up as a dis-ease, right? You're not at ease anymore. You're not taking care of me and you're not taking care of whatever these external situations and issues are, and I speak for myself, not to toot my own horn, but like, I feel like a pretty vibrant person for the most part. I have my off days like anybody else, but I communicate and I'm keeping track of like my menstrual cycle, and seeing like how that is showing up in my body and moving through me. And like I also like keep track of my skin and if I'm getting enough water, if I'm getting enough sleep. I feel a healthy vitality within me and my body has something to show for it. Like people think I'm a decade younger than I am. And great. Like I would whatever. Like if anything, I can't wait for my salt and pepper like gray hair, but also at the same time, like it's just a testament to like even doing these YouTube videos, like it's allowing me to get this stuff out to express the things that I want to express. Because I know for me, when I kept it in, like kept it in my throat, like it was just like coming up as frustration, and I'm wanting to move closer towards satisfaction. And so for me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to show up to this YouTube thing imperfectly as possible because if not, it's going to start manifesting in my body in a way and in my life in a way that I don't want that to come out. I don't want it to come out in a negative way, like I want to create and use it as fuel to create in a positive way and allow myself to show up fully and wholly and just use this platform to express myself because I don't want to hold it in. I don't want that in my body. So we can keep ignoring our issues and ignoring, certain parts and aspects of ourselves, but it will find its way to manifest physically. And exactly what Shannon says, she says it's going to keep you locked into a life of ongoing inner struggle and personal negativity if you don't deal with it. And we see this a lot in our parents. I see this a lot in my immigrant parents, man. I see it. Yeah, like I just see it in their bodies. I see it in the ways that they take care of themselves. Like obviously culturally it's different, but I also see it in my Lala, to be honest. Like she's 96 now. She's lived in this country by herself for about 30 years now, more or less. She's just barely starting to see signs of like wear and tear. Like this is the first time just this past year she was in the hospital for the first time. Maybe not the first time, but like this one was like, we're like, all right, like Lola, it's time to transition. But like she bounced back somehow, one way or another. I don't know how. I don't know what's really keeping her alive, but I truly believe it's just her inner peace. It's her inner peace and it's her inner connection to her higher source and the ways that she take care of herself. Like she lives in the States. How is she not like overweight? How is she still taking care of herself? And more importantly, she's been like in a way like isolated. She'd never found herself out of the house and like making new friends and stuff. For me, I'm like, I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that with my Lala. I'm like, how did she live a life without friends? you know, like she's had her family around because we're all living in the same house. But I was like, how did she live her life like without friends? That's a whole conversation I could possibly have with her. But like being a part of a generation right now where we can have these bigger conversations with ourselves and others is such a unique opportunity. It may not be comfortable, but like the fact that we have at least enough breathing room for you to be on this video, to get this far in this video for whatever. I'm not kidding. I'm going to give myself my flowers that if you're still here, it's for a reason. And I trust that. But like, if you have a breathing room in the margin to watch this video at this point, and let's be honest, the attention span to get this point in the video, then we're not doing so bad. We're not doing so bad. I hope that this encourages you to take up this time and space and margin and breathing room to ask these questions of yourself of what am I ignoring in my life? And how can I address them sooner than later so that they don't manifest physically in me and also that they don't keep us like in a cycle of struggle. And also recognizing like you don't need me to tell you. You don't need me to tell you like if there's something within you that you've been ignoring. If you look around and observe, either people are telling you or you already know deep within yourself that there is something that you've been ignoring and that maybe it's time to do something about them. At the very least, I'm not saying you have to go out and like go fix them immediately, but at the very least, is just to slowly start becoming self-aware about them. And it starts by asking these questions. What am I ignoring? And why am I ignoring them? What am I being ignorant about? And why do I continue to choose my ignorance about them? And so the book continues. I'm on a path of understanding more and more about myself every day and shifting my perspective just like my father did. I'm becoming more conscious about what I'm ignoring or denying, and my learning process has become faster. My struggles fewer and less intense. This revelation about my self-soothing habits, while not the full solution, has given me something to explore, which led me to an understanding of what else might need looking at. As my father himself had said, learning is discovery, the discovery of the cause of our ignorance. It is discovering what is there in us. When we discover, we are uncovering our own abilities, our own eyes, in order to find our potential, to see what is going on, to discover how to enlarge our lives, to find means at our disposal to help us cope and grow. Don't be in a hurry to fix things. Rather, enrich your understanding in the ever-going process of discovery and find more of the cause of your ignorance. Let's be honest. If we choose to be ignorant, especially in today in the informational age, it is truly a choice at this point. You cannot tell me with AI that we cannot increase our self-awareness as to the issues that we've been ignoring. And so it says here, if we wanted to know the information sooner, I could have chosen to look more closely and see what was there. So I encourage you to open yourself and look deeply, even when it's painful or scary. I say this to you as if you're still on this video, man, you are, I'm hoping, one of my people, because it takes a lot. Again, it takes a lot. For one, for someone to still be on this video, to still have the attention span to be here. That says a lot to me about you. Second off, the fact that you're even listening this far and hopefully considering for yourself what issues within yourself that you're ignoring, as opposed to being like, they got issues. They got issues. Well, girl, we all got issues, okay? It takes a level of courage and honesty to ask these questions of ourselves. And for me, that's a part of the self-leadership. That's a part of leading ourselves before we can lead others. And recognizing that leadership isn't always in this hard, strong-armed, positioned, occupation, titled way. Like that there's a soft way of being a leader in our own lives and even with each other. It comes with curiosity, and it comes with having the courage to be curious in a time period where we are overloaded and have access to as much information as possible and have access to artificial intelligence. But don't forget that we also have access to infinite intelligence. This was always here before artificial intelligence ever was. I encourage you to use both, but know that one was made by humans and the other is this ultimate persevering presence that has always existed. And so the last thing I want to leave with you all, it says, and as a reminder for both of us, I'm not going to lie to you. It takes courage to look at your issues, and it requires work to release them. And you may be frustrated at times. Girl, I have been frustrated. You may feel as if you don't know what you're doing or what the next best step is. It may shake you off what you thought was your foundation and make you feel insecure. You may decide it's just easier not to look or know and just put up with the soul discomfort for the rest of your life. But as you gain skill and practice, you will learn to develop ways to grow past that which scares you. And it will get easier. And your process will actually become so intriguing to you that it will start to engage your enthusiasm. So I just wanted to leave that as a message of encouragement that if you're still here and that you're ready to ask the hard questions and to stop ignoring the deeper issues. First off, I want to give you your flowers and I want to give you kudos because damn, that takes a lot from anybody. And so the fact that you're willing to do that is a big, big fucking deal. And, you know, depending on when you find this video, I don't care if you're 13, if you're 23, if you're 43, if you're 73. It's never too late. But I do encourage you to start now. Because think about it. If you wait until later, that's only more recollection and memory and backlogging and thought process to remember where these issues started. Where did they stem from? So much life is going to happen. And if we're lucky, and so if we're starting later on in life to finally not ignore our issues, again, commending you for even wanting to stop ignoring them. Maybe your soul's like, hello, I'm still here. There's this thing we need to talk about. And you're saying, okay, I'm going to pick up the call and we're going to figure this out, which is going to be frustrating. It's going to be painful and it's going to be a struggle. But again, encouraging you that if you're still here, start now. because it's going to be more difficult. The more pervasive this is going to get, the more changes that are going to come. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to be in a firm foundation. I'm really trying to be anchored in who I am and what I truly want and who I'm ultimately and what I'm ultimately connected to. Because I know these waves are coming and I want to learn how to surf. I'm going to learn how to surf these waves, but also like be anchored to something. And I know for me that all of this is going to change. People are going to come and go. Situations are going to change. I'm not always going to be in Montreal. This internet is not always going to be here. But I know what is for as long as I'm in this body. And I'm not saying an attachment to this body, but as long as I am cohabitating in this body, like I want to be anchored in it. I want to be anchored as a full human being connected to ultimate source, to be my compass and my North Star in this transition in society right now. That sounds big and scary, and it is. But what's also big and scary is in the little ways that we are ignoring ourselves, and in the little ways that we are dishonoring ourselves, and the little ways that we're betraying ourselves because we're not ready and willing to have the conversations about the issues that are harboring within ourselves and our mind, our body, and spirit. This is what we have to live with on a day-to-day basis. All of that and who we're around in this room, in this environment is going to change. And we're going to change. This body's going to change. You know, I ain't going to look like this. I ain't going to look like this long. But like that inner deep seated knowing in our spirit and our souls and developing that relationship with the within. I just implore on you to start now, especially before these waves really start rocking this boat. You know, you better learn how to surf. You better get that surfboard on your ankle and learn how to surf these waves. And these waves can be external waves or even just the waves of emotions, energy in motion. I just want you to know, and I'm speaking to my younger self though, it's a balance. It's the yin and yang, right? I want to remind myself that at the end of the day, that what will be, will be. There's nothing inherently to fix. There's nothing inherently to fix outside of us. And there's nothing inherently to fix inside of us. Everything and everyone and who we are is already perfect, just as it is. And that life will continue on to be perfect as it is, even if it doesn't seem that way. So I also want to just note, you don't have to do anything. Actually, you don't have to do anything, and you are already as perfect as can be. And you have permission to continue to just be. And that is totally okay. But this video is more so for the people who aren't enjoying being who they currently are and being in the situations that they're in and being in the circumstances that we're all experiencing, and that you want to do something about it. You want to be the cause, not the effect. And recognizing that, yeah, we have all that going on out there, but remembering it actually starts right here. If you're tired of being ignorant and ignoring your internal issues, remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to suck a lot of the times. But doing this work now is setting you up for a life of more self-awareness so that you can enjoy more of life as it keeps happening to us and through us. And we're just going to ride that wave of self-awareness and realize that everything is going to be a-okay. Everything is perfect just the way that it is. And even though it can be hard, how can we like it for exactly what it is? Welcome to the part 2 video of yesterday's video, wanting to continue to have this conversation. I would love to continue to have this conversation with you if that's something that you're interested in. You can follow me. No, I don't want you to follow me. I want you to engage with me. You can engage with me here in the comments on YouTube, or you can engage with me and start a conversation and connect with me on Instagram at I am KShort. All right, y'all. I hope that this video encourages you on your journey and supports you on your journey. Again, I'm going to trust and believe that you know what's best for you. You're going to take what works for you and what doesn't and make it your own. But nonetheless, I hope that it was at least a clue or a signpost that at least encourages you to keep going. So thank you all so much for watching, and I catch y'all in the next wave, in the next video. All right. Bye now.